Welcome to West Virginia's Haunted History. This list of 10 is part of a playlist of gentle listening, spooky collections from across the USA. The screen fades to black so you can enjoy the stories without distractions if relaxing, studying or wanting to sleep. Please do consider a like and subscribe if you enjoy this type of content. First, we have the Lewisburg Historic District in Lewisburg. One thing that West Virginia seems to have in abundance is towns that are haunted, as opposed to just single buildings. One such town is Lewisburg, and in particular, the Historic District. Visitors to the town say that late at night they hear moaning and cries of pain coming from the old stone church. Since the building served as a Civil War hospital, those strange noises are thought to be from the spirits of wounded soldiers. The General Lewis Inn is also very haunted with up to 3 spirits in residence, but one of them, known as the Greenbrier Ghost, is the most famous. It's the ghost of Zona Shue, a lady who was murdered by her husband in 1897. What happened was that her ghost appeared to her own mother over 4 different nights and told her of what happened. Zona described the house in detail, rooms, furniture, and even a blood-stained spot near a loose floorboard. What makes this remarkable is her mother had never visited Zona's house, yet it was found to be exactly as Zona had described. Her mother testified in court, and the details within it helped to convict Zona's husband. Second on the list is Railway Trail Tunnel No. 19 in Ritchie County. The North Bend Trail runs for 72 miles and is very popular with hikers, cyclists and horseback riders. However, all of them need to make sure of being particularly careful when they get to Tunnel No. 19, which is also known as the Silver Run Tunnel, as it's said to be extremely haunted. As far back as 1910, reports started of a young lady in a flowing white dress standing on the tracks. She was first seen by an engineer who brought his train to a forceful halt, thinking he'd hit her. When he got out to look, she had gone, vanished into thin air. Over the years, many other railway engineers have experienced the same thing. One engineer decided he wouldn't stop for the apparition. She appeared in front of his train, he blew his whistle but didn't brake. The train smashed into the woman and she sailed up and over the engine. According to the legend, a young woman was to be married and was waiting at the Silver Run station for her lover dressed in a long white dress. He didn't show up, and the thinking is she took her own life, perhaps in the tunnel, or perhaps she was abducted and killed while patiently waiting at the station. A possible clue is that several human bones were uncovered under a house that's very close to the tunnel. Third on our list is the Droop Mountain Battlefield in Pocahontas County. Droop Mountain Battlefield has become a memorial commemorating West Virginia's final significant battle during the Civil War. On November 6, 1863, Brigadier General William Averell's Union troops staged a crushing victory over the Confederates, driving them south into what is now Virginia. The site became a national park in 1929 as a memorial to those who lost their lives there. Since then, visitors have been reporting a variety of paranormal activity. They include the sound of galloping horses, sightings of a headless Confederate soldier, and seeing another soldier who is napping against a tree. And number 4 is the Lake Shawnee Amusement Park in Mercer County. In the late 1700s, there was a bloody altercation between a white settler named Mitchell Clay and the local tribe of Shawnee Native Americans. It resulted in the tragic death of 3 of Mr. Clay's children and several Shawnee warriors. Some say that these deaths have left a curse on the land, which might be the case because of what happened in the 1920s, after a local businessman bought the land and built the Lake Shawnee Amusement Park. Over the next few years, several people died in accidents at the park, and it finally closed down in 1966. The abandoned remains of the park are now considered to be one of the most haunted locations in West Virginia. There are regular paranormal tours of the property, with many people reporting seeing the apparitions of a man and a little girl. The little girl is dressed in pink. As halfway through the list, we have another haunted town. Harper's Ferry in Jefferson County is well known for its ghosts. In fact, some of the hauntings are said to go back hundreds of years. There are various buildings around the town that have a spooky story or two attached to them. One of the most popular tales involves a female spirit in 18th century style clothing who is often seen looking down at people from the window of Harper House. There are tales from St. Peter's Catholic Church of several spirits, including wounded soldiers, probably due to it being used as a hospital in the Civil War. There's also the ghost there of a priest. However, the most common experience is for visitors to hear the distant sounds of fife and drum music, which is said to be a phantom army performing marching drills. And number 6 is the Sweet Springs Sanitarium in Gap Mills. Established in 1792 by William Lewis, the Sweet Springs Sanitarium was a mineral spring resort where people from all over West Virginia would spend their summer months relaxing and socializing. In the 1830s, the current brick hotel was built, and business continued to boom until the Civil War broke out. During its heyday, the resort would welcome some of history's most well-known people, such as George Washington, Jerome Bonaparte, and General Robert E. Lee. Numbers began to dwindle after the Civil War, and by 1930 financial troubles hit and the resort had to close. It was reopened between 1942 and 1945 as a sanitarium for tuberculosis patients, before becoming a retirement home in 1945. Sweet Springs is haunted by some of the thousands of people who unfortunately died there. Also, a ghostly nurse figure, believed to be from the sanitarium's days, who's seen patrolling the hallways. Other reports are of a weeping woman who guests report hearing as a woman sobbing late at night. She's believed to be the ghost of another nurse who contracted tuberculosis while caring for patients. There's a soldier in grey, a Civil War era apparition who's seen wandering around the grounds. And the lost children, as they're called, who are thought to be from the sanitarium days again, and whose laughter can sometimes be heard in the empty corridors. At spot number 7 is another resort, the Greenbrier Resort. The Greenbrier Resort in West Sulphur Springs began in 1778 as a hot springs retreat, which welcomed presidents, politicians, and high society. Then in the Civil War, it hosted wounded soldiers, and by the mid-20th century, it doubled as a military hospital, and for 30 years was a secret nuclear bunker known as Project Greek Island. Jim Justice acquired the property in 2009, and he's added modern amenities like the Casino Club and the Sports Performance Centre. Guests at the Casino Club occasionally report seeing a dapper gentleman in 1920s clothes placing phantom bets at the roulette tables. He vanishes when approached. The Infinity Pool features reports of hands making ripples in the water, and sometimes brides using the resort for weddings have felt tugs on their wedding dresses. The decommissioned bunker can also be toured, and it's where other paranormal events have happened, such as hearing phantom crutches tapping in the corridors. At number 8 is, remarkably, another haunted amusement park. This one is at Camden Park in Huntingdon. The 26-acre amusement park dates back to 1902, when it began as a picnic spot by the Camden Interstate Railway Company. Passengers travelling between Huntingdon and nearby cities would stop to change lines, and the park was created in case they wanted to stay a little longer. The park is West Virginia's only amusement park and is believed to be haunted because of being built on top of an ancient Native American burial ground. One witness reported seeing the apparition of a Native American man chasing the apparition of another while carrying a knife. The Big Dipper also has had its share of reported ghosts. The figure of a woman is sometimes seen seated in the last car of the wooden coaster. For number 9 we have Blennerhassett Hotel in Parkersburg, one of the most haunted buildings in West Virginia. The Queen Anne-style building is reportedly haunted by William Chancellor, who was responsible for building the property in the late 1800s. Guests staying at the hotel have claimed to encounter the ghosts of children playing in the hallways, and others say they have seen a man dressed in a tuxedo in several different mirrors. Staff at the hotel also say that mysterious knocking and other unexplained sounds are fairly commonplace. The hotel does offer ghost tours as part of their Haunted Parkersburg package deal. Finally, we have a truly weird final story from southwestern West Virginia in the legend of the Sheep Squatch. Sightings started in the 1990s with people describing a woolly creature with goat-like horns and sharp claws. Witnesses have described the cryptid as aggressive. It often charges them and growls. Some have said it may be a misidentified bear or an undiscovered animal. Others believe it may be the ghost of an animal because of its usual white colour, though others view Sheep Squatch purely as modern-day folklore. Recent sightings have become increasingly rare, though the legend remains popular among cryptid enthusiasts. Thank you for joining me on this little adventure. From small amusement parks to whole towns, this West Virginia list was very different for ghosts and hauntings. I hope you'll be here for the next one. Wisconsin.